Welcome to Rise and Shine. I am Vuyanzi, Abraham, Queen Esther, King David, the Apostle Paul, and Jesus himself. What do they all have in common? Well, there was a pivotal moment in their lives when everything shifted and they were reinvented. They reinvented their roles on this earth. And that is what we have the pleasure of talking about today, is reinventing yourself. I am so excited because this is one of my favorite topics, absolutely, hands down, one of my favorite topics. And I have two wonderful people who are here who are going to help unpack this whole idea of reinventing yourself. So stay tuned today if you felt kind of restless about where you are, whether it's personally or professionally in your life. Stay tuned if you've been wondering what's the next chapter, because today's show, Reinventing Yourself, is for you. So, Coach Jackie Kia, I'm so happy to have you here today. You are a seasoned psychologist, you're a counselor, you're a life coach. And recently, you and I had the opportunity to speak together on a webinar. And that's also where I found out that you are called the Fresh Start Coach. The Fresh Start, which has everything to do with one, reinventing yourself or reinventing themselves. So I'm so happy to have you here. And maybe if there's anything more we should know about you, Coach Jackie Kia, tell us, and then tell us why you think, obviously you think this subject is important because you do it for a living, basically, but why you think it's important that we should be talking about it today on Rise and Shine. Welcome, Jackie.
Thank you so much, and thank you for having me here. Yes, we met in the webinar, and the webinar was good.
Yes.
It was a pleasure to meet you. I believe new beginnings are important because life does not happen in a straight line. Life demands us to refresh every time, and it could be in different areas in our lives. It could be in your career, it could be healing your childhood wounds, it could be parenting, it could be planned, or it could just happen because of life circumstances that are beyond you. So new beginnings are a necessary part of our lives. You know, if we don't grow, we die. And every growth demands reinvention. Every growth comes with new challenges that demands us to adapt to them and become better persons and better versions of ourselves.
Wow.
Yeah.
So I'm going to leave that right there because that was a wonderful segue for our next guest. Every version of ourselves requires us to be a new version of ourselves. Today, we have with us Valentine Njoroge. Now, if someone's ears perked up and they said, wait, Valentine? Yes, that Valentine Njoroge is with us today. And I have you here because I know over the past 20 years, you've been in media. And so it's almost easy to just box you in and say, okay, she's done media.
Right.
And that's what she does. However, I know that there have had to have been some fresh starts. I know that throughout your 20 years, there have had to have been some reinventions. So I have you here, and I thank you because I know even right now you're going through some reinventions, and you're so brave to come out. I know you're usually on this side.
I'm usually on that side.
You're
asking
usually
the
on this
questions.
side, but today we have you in the hot seat. So that being said, please, for those who may not have heard of you, maybe you can tell them a little bit more about yourself.
I like how she said they might not have heard of you. Like it's like it's not real.
It's impossible.
I did extra eyebrows on that. So with that said, though, okay, of course, a little bit more about you. However, also tell us why you think it's important that you're sitting here and you're talking about your own testimony of reinvention too.
Of reinvention. So great to meet you, first of all. And I love that tag, the Fresh Start Coach,
Yes,
right?
yes.
Yeah, because we all need a fresh start. I've had a few fresh starts in life, I mean, even coming out of university, I studied computer science, I studied philosophy, and then I came to Kenya and was like, I want a microphone. And the song in my head at that time was Eminem. All I need is one mic. Seriously. And then I got the mic, started my radio career and all that. Always wanted to be on TV. Then 2014, I went for a silent retreat. Like 10 days, you don't talk to anybody, you can't touch anyone, you can't look anyone in the eye.
I just want to make sure I understand. When you say silent retreat,
For 10 days.
Your mouth is closed. You don't talk for 10 days.
You don't talk, you don't look at people, you can't touch anybody. You keep yourself to you, and then you meditate. You sit in silence for 14 hours a day. So what that does is all your, I should have said this. Why did that person talk to me this way? And, oh, I missed this opportunity. I should have done this and blah, blah, blah. Like all that comes up. And you really examine your life. But then also you realize, okay, what really matters. But then also you realize just how little we control. We like to walk around thinking, oh, I'm in control. My career is going like this and this and this and this. But actually, we don't control anything. Like life is completely in God's hands. We control nothing. You can pray, but that's about it, right? So that happened, and I rededicated my life to God. And then came out of that. Somebody's going to come for me. They always do, and I say this. 3 weeks later, I got pregnant and became a mom, like, now in 2015. And what was the reinvention that? There wasn't much of a reinvention. I was just now talking to God more and listening more to God. But I can't say like I became like, a swift turnaround, like somebody gets born again and then it's like, oh, I can see the Jesus in you now. It wasn't that at all. It wasn't like that at all. And then what happened? 2021, I got into a car accident.
Wow.
October 8th. And it was a horrible car accident. I had 3 broken bones. One of them is right here. And then I had 2 pelvic breaks. So I couldn't walk. And then the hospitals were full. Do you remember 2021? Curfew and all that.
Yeah.
So
COVID was still going on.
Hospitals were full and the doctors at Aga Khan were like, yeah, we could, take you in, but we recommend you go home. I'm like, I have broken bones. They're like, just buy a walker, but we want you on bed rest, like facing the ceiling. Like not even like you can turn around because the break was on this side and also on this other side. So 2 months staring at a ceiling. I couldn't even make it downstairs.
Wow.
I couldn't wash myself. So I'm staring at the ceiling. I'm like, okay, Jesus, what is this meeting? What did I not hear that I ended up here that you needed to talk to me so urgently? So then we had this conversation and God was like, there are certain things he wants me to do with my life. And there are certain things he doesn't want me doing with my life anymore. So even though I stopped writing in a national newspaper about sex and sexuality, I was still doing like online videos and I had a YouTube channel, which had like 17,000 subscribers, which is not easy to get, right?
No, right, it's not. No, it's not.
It's not easy to get.
Yeah.
And I'd been doing Datasphere and all this other stuff. And then Datasphere, if you don't know, is a platform for African women to share their stories. And then what happened? So then I came out of it and the relationship I was in ended. And I just felt like, okay, God wants me to start fresh, like from kind of zero. And then a few months later, the job I had as a newsreader and everything, even that came to an end. But I didn't come out. My healing was not like, 2 months and then now I'm like out and in heels and looking amazing.
Yeah.
I was still like in a lot of pain. I couldn't sit for very long. I couldn't stand for very long. Which when you're in media, like you're either emceeing, you're moderating, or you're sitting somewhere like Buyanzi asked you.
Yes.
And so I was like, oh my God, I can't work. I couldn't drive. So it took months. And then in March, the doctor was like, oh, you're healed, you're good. And I was like, hold on. His name is Muhammad Ali. I was like, Muhammad. Let's have a conversation.
Yeah.
He's like, you're healed, you're good. And I'm like, no. This is not healing. And he's like, it's the best I can do. So I was like, okay, I've heard you and science, and I've heard you, Muhammad.
Yeah.
We're going to talk to a higher power.
Yes.
And I'm like, Jesus, this ain't it. Because I can't even worship. Like, I like to dance when I worship. I'm like,
Yes.
God, I can't even do that.
Yes. I'm going to put, this is getting good. And I want to bring this up later. I'm going to bring this up later in the conversation because I feel a transformation transformation coming on during this but hold on to the transformation. We want to keep these people into suspense, but there's something that I'm hearing. I'm hearing, and maybe you've seen it, Coach Jackie, and your clients. I'm hearing that sometimes a fresh start or sometimes a reinvention can be painful.
Yes.
Sometimes. It doesn't always have to be, but I'm hearing that sometimes.
Can reinvention be unpainful? Like, I don't think it can be comfortable. maybe that's what,
but painful, right? But I mean, yours was extreme.
Yes.
Right? I mean, so the hope is everyone doesn't have to go through that extreme situation, but nevertheless, there is some pain involved.
Yeah.
Sometimes even for the fresh start, there's some healing involved. That's what I'm hearing.
Yeah.
So I want to talk about, because I love the way Valentine has laid this out, because she's touched on everything we're about to be talking about.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
wonderful. It's
Okay.
wonderful because, and that's why I wanted you to leave off at the transformation, because I want to hear that story towards a little bit later. However, when people are coming to you, Coach Jackie Kia, and first of all, how do they even recognize that it's time for a reinvention of themselves? Now, I will say, just to compare this story, right? Valentine just told us she was laying on her back and like, God, what's going on? But nevertheless, not everyone's in that. So how do people even recognize it's time for the reinvention?
The stagnation. At times the pain is because you feel stagnated. You're not feeling like you're moving forward. So the pain is not physical, but you can just feel like you're stuck in a rut. At times it is an ending of something that makes you know it's time for a fresh start. But also you need to have decided that you need the fresh start, because you can decide to stay in the lull, in the ending, and mourn and pity party. It doesn't happen to everyone. I think that's the first thing we should set clear. That a new beginning, a fresh start, you also need to want it. Wow. If you don't want it, then you become a victim. Yeah. So you just have your victim stories, and you can justify why you are there. You can ask why me, and you just wallow in that stagnation or uncomfortability or end of something, because those are the things that bring a fresh start. So there could be end of something, there could be stagnation, there could be dissatisfaction, there could be awareness that you need to up your skills because you have reached the end. Yeah.
I really like that. I've never actually thought of it that way. Like, if you don't move forward, then that's what lends to that victim mentality of woe is me and things don't work out for me and I'm just going to make do and blah, blah. I'd never thought of it that way. That is very interesting.
It is the victim mentality that makes us stay there, because you actually have a reason to justify.
And you feel powerless.
Yeah. And you have a reason to justify it.
Okay, so how do we move out of victim mentality to get to that reinvention?
One of the most simple ways, not easy, simple ways to move out of the victim mentality.
I love how you're preparing us. You said simple, not easy.
Not
okay,
easy.
We're all listening, yes.
Is the story you tell yourself. What is the story you tell yourself about what is going on in your life?
What do you mean by that? The story we're telling ourselves.
Okay. If the story I tell myself is that, oh my God, I'm not able to do ABCD. I think people are just unfair to me. Can you remember last year so-and-so did this? And then also life will give you evidence of how people have been unfair to you. So when you tell yourself that story is not empowering. And you cannot expect that mindset and that story to come up with solutions of how to get out. To look at it like it is just a life thing, a life event.
It's not personal.
It's not personal.
Okay.
Yeah, because people who have marinated in victim stories.
Wow.
It's personal. And when you work with them, or even as a friend, if you try to help them, they will tell you, oh yeah, but there's always
the but.
So they will always counter any solution you give them. They will counter it with but.
Okay.
Yeah. So they don't even have the capacity to take the solution because of the story they've told themselves. So they will miss out on the solutions that they get even from people.
How do you even know that you're in this victimhood?
I think first by being present. Being present to your thoughts. You know, also these thoughts are so autopilot. You don't even realize that the story you're telling yourself. So be present to yourself and ask yourself, what story am I telling myself about what is happening now? Yeah. And if at all the story you're telling yourself is, it's only you, bad things are happening to me, I can't do ABCD, and you have all that evidence, then you need to shift that story. And how do you shift that story? First, by not staying in those thoughts for long. If the thoughts come, can you cut them? You know, stop them.
Yes.
Because when you're present now, you will know that you are thinking of a certain thought. And how do I know the thoughts that I'm thinking are powerful or are disempowering? By how you're feeling. My feelings and my thoughts can never be off, can never be different.
Misaligned.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Right,
misaligned.
actually, yeah, because your thoughts come first,
And then
they
your
give birth
feelings.
to feelings, and then
Yes.
they give
Yeah.
birth to actions.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So your feelings, how are you feeling? It will help you know, okay, what have I been thinking about? I'm feeling like this. What is it that I'm telling myself? Yeah. So be present to the story you're telling yourself, the interpretation you've given what is happening. It is said our problems, the problems that we face in life are 99% what we think about. 90%,
Wow.
it is what
Wow.
we think about,
Wow.
how we interpret it.
So actually,
The problem is 10%.
Yeah.
But the 90% is our thoughts around whatever thing you're facing.
So actually,
Okay.
the 10-day retreat and sitting in silence, you realize, one of the things I realized is we don't finish our thoughts. You start to think about something, the uncomfortable feelings come up, you pick up your phone, you get on Instagram
Yeah.
or whatever, you watch a show, you
Yeah.
get on YouTube, blah, blah, blah. And you never really finish the thought. Whereas if you sat with it, then you can interrogate it.
Well,
and you
does
can
it-
ask questions like, why do I feel this way?
Does
I
it
don't
also
know.
make you present?
Yes.
Present to the
To
thought.
the actual,
to hear
and
it.
even to sit there with the like you're saying, the feelings and get the discomfort.
Just one
Okay,
quick
I'm gonna
second.
shut
Let me
up.
just interrupt this. One quick second. No, actually, I
Yeah,
love
yeah,
this
yeah, yeah.
conversation because you both are hitting on things, and I want to make sure that the audience is following.
Okay.
Number one, when you're saying you had many thoughts that we don't finish, I forget that number of how many thousands of thoughts that we have every day.
Yeah.
So the fact that we're not finishing them and you had that experience makes complete sense. Now, you're talking about that retreat, and you're leading me right into my next piece because we've understood how to recognize. Coach Jackie, you just helped us how to recognize we need the reinvention. But now thinking about the strategies for a reinvention. Now, granted, Valentine, not everyone can do that 10-day silent retreat. However, I'm just curious for you personally, what were some of the strategies that you saw that lent itself to your reinventions? I'm going to put an S around
Yeah,
there
'cause there have been a
there's
few.
been multiple, but maybe you can just kind of think about a few strategies that you use personally. And then Coach Jackie, of course, you know, I'm going to come to you to kind of give us some guidelines and strategies. Go ahead, Valentine.
So what came out of the 10-day retreat and Christians, it's not a Christian thing. So in any way, it's actually the meditation that the Buddha practiced. I used to be a born-again Christian when I was a child. So now as an adult, I was like, I miss Jesus. Like, it was really that simple. So I didn't have a strategy. My strategy was, God, hey, it's me, Valentine. I want to come back home. And so I rededicated my life to God. And that brought me back to reading scripture. It brought me back to prayer. It took me a while to get back to church. This was 2014. I started going back to church in 2021. Yes, and then 2022 got serious about it, about being in church. So I was telling you around. So my friend Cynthia Nyamai invites me to the Mantle of Deborah by Apostle Isi Igeneba. So I go for that. And in the course of the day, she's like, there's a woman here, something happened to your hip, you want healed properly.
Wow.
Please come to the front.
I'm feeling chills.
I wasn't the only one. These hips, many people had problems with their hips.
Everyone limped to the front.
And to be honest, it took me a second. I did not even think. I didn't even think she was talking about me. And then, so I'm watching women go to the front, and then I was with my mother. I'm like, Mom, she's talking about me.
Oh, wow.
So I ran to the front.
my God.
And then she laid hands on me. She prayed. The prayer probably took 30 seconds. But the next time I went for my workout, I actually completed the workout. And I hadn't been able to for like 7 months.
Wow.
I'm fit. Like I work out 3-4 times a week. So even the recovery, it was very frustrating for me to not be able to exercise. So, and then I'm like, wow, Jesus, you really like just healed me. So I don't have a strategy. My strategy is God. I don't have a strategy. I
Can
don't
you
have
say
a
that again so everyone
Okay.
can hear you? Your strategy is what?
My strategy is God. If I feel happy, stuck, whatever, I'm talking to Jesus constantly. I'm like, so what are we doing now? What's next? Like, okay, God, I tried this. It's not working. Am I not hearing you? Am I hearing you? Should I continue? Should I let this one go? Like, what is the next thing? So 2022, August, I was doing this TV show and that got canceled. So then I was like, okay, God, what next? And God had already started to talk to me about the beauty industry and starting a line of beauty products. But in my head, I thought I'm supposed to import them. So I found some Koreans and I was going to import my things. And then it just felt like it wasn't coming together. So then again, I'm like, okay, God, what were you telling me? And then a friend of mine who had been praying for me and God had showed her a vision. And she said she saw me in a lab making the products. And here I was thinking I'm supposed to be importing the products. So I was like, oh God, that was my mistake. And he didn't laugh at me, but I imagine that he would have been like, girl, please, I told you already.
I'm just waiting for you to catch up, Valentine.
I told you already. Right. So then when I started researching, doing my own products, and then I was like, God, I need a chemist. And then I found a chemist. I need resources to do this. I need somebody to help me get through, I need to understand KEBS and getting all the certifications and all this. So then I know I'm doing the right thing when there's flow.
Yes.
When there's like glitches and I'm pushing, I'm like, God, you're not here. Like, what am I missing? Those are the signs for me. I don't know if that's, you also need to learn, I think, how God speaks to you and how God moves in your life. Because if I'm pushing something with the strength of Valentine, then that's, God didn't send me.
And you know what? Let me
sometimes
just
it's
hear
my
you.
ego where I'm like, I want this.
Valentine, let me just interrupt you though, because you're saying some poignant things. When you say my strategy is God, that means it's about having a relationship with God. That can't be about going to church on the Sunday and forgetting about God every other time.
No.
That's a relationship. And as you're telling your story of the reinvention, it sounds like every step of the way and when you weren't consulting God, you saw where it went.
Right.
But every step of the way, you were consulting God. So I hope that everyone who's listening right now understands that a relationship with God is key.
Right.
And Coach Jackie, I want to ask you, you've heard Valentine and hers. Now I know that's not everyone. Everyone doesn't hear from God like that, right? However.
But actually, we do.
Okay, but Valentine.
Can I just say this?
Okay. Valentine is, I hear you, and we do, but we don't. But listen, God speaks all the time.
Yes.
We're talking about hearing, whether or not you hear it and hear the Holy Spirit. Now that's different.
Right.
Because not everyone hears in the same way.
Yeah.
So I do believe God is always there speaking. However, some may need a little bit of extra help in understanding what are some of the strategies of this. And Coach Jackie, I just want to go to you for a moment in terms of the people that you've worked with. Professionally, personally, when they need a reinvention, what are some of the strategies that help them get to that point? That people can be listening. They've heard about building their relationship with Christ. And what might be some other steps that maybe people feel are practical? Maybe they're saying, I don't hear God like that. But what about the other steps?
Okay. I love Valentine's story.
Yeah.
And as much as it can be summarized like I listen to God, I think there's a lot of action points that you've put in place.
Okay.
I don't think the lab just dropped on your feet. The lab people,
no. It's
you
taken...
had to talk to people, ask, and then it will come.
That's true. And
Yeah.
interview some people. I was like,
Interview some people.
Not working with you.
Yeah.
Right,
So
yes.
you'll see there's still action points that you need to put in place. You know, a joke is told about this guy who used to pray every time when he sees people have won lottery tickets. So he used to pray and say, "Oh my God, God, please help me win a lottery. Please help me win a lottery like the other winner that has won millions." And then one day God asked him, "See, you even buy the ticket. You know, you don't even have the lottery ticket, but you're paying for win." So there's actions that
Yeah.
also us as human beings we need to put in place.
That's true.
Yeah. You should also know you want to shift from what to what. Yeah. Where do you want to take your life? What areas are you starting afresh? What is your new beginning? Because you cannot shoot at a target that you don't see. So set that goal and know, this is what I want to change. I am stuck in this, but this is the desire I have. Then you put the actions that are going to take you to that place that you want to be. Because if you don't know where you're going to be, what actions are you going to put in place?
So let me pause right there
Yes.
and we'll go to a break. But I want to make sure I'm understanding. You're saying reinvention starts with knowing where you're headed.
Yeah, I'm dissatisfied here. What would you desire for?
So you don't stay in the being dissatisfied.
Yeah.
You now paint a picture.
Yeah, what would
the
I
vision.
want? Yeah, the
You
vision.
write the vision and make it
Yes.
plain. Let's pause right there. This conversation is so interesting. I hope you guys are getting some gems that are being dropped now. We don't want to just have this conversation by ourselves. We want you to join us too. So make sure on all our platforms that you are telling your thoughts. Is it time for your reinvention? Are you hearing some of Valentine's stories that are resonating with you? Are you hearing from Coach Jackie some action steps? Maybe you've been in victim mentality too long and it's time for your reinvention. I cannot wait to read your comments as you watch the show today. So we will, across all our social media platforms. So we will catch you on the other side of the break.
We are living in a lost and broken world, constantly bombarded by messages of hate and atrocities. But with God, we can overcome. Find hope and restoration on the go through life-changing shows on the Family Media app.
And then you will lose yourself and gain the world. And Jesus said, what good is it?
Get to stream Family TV and Family Radio 316 straight from your phone. Catch up on a show you missed or create video streaming playlists by saving and watching videos from our huge variety of shows at your own convenience. Download the Family Media app, available for all Android and iOS users on the Google Play Store and Apple Store respectively. Family Media, keeping Jesus on the airwaves.
Welcome back to Rise and Shine. Thank you so much for watching us on Family TV, and thank you for listening to 103.9 in Nairobi, Miri 87.9 in Mombasa, 97.9 Nakuru, 102.1 Meru, 107.7, and in Kisumu, 96.5. We appreciate that you are with us. Now, listen, if you are enjoying this content and these gems that are being gifted to you today, then why not become a partner? If you want to become an ongoing partner here at Family TV and Family Radio, then text the name partner to 20316. Now let's continue with this amazing conversation. Don't forget, today we're talking about reinventing yourself with Coach Jackie Kea and Valentine Njoroge. So before we left off on the break, Coach Jackie, you were telling us about the steps toward the strategies towards reinvention. I just want to remind the audience, you mentioned the vision first.
Yes.
Like you have to know where you were going.
Yes.
And then you were continuing from there. Please.
Yeah. So you need to know the vision, the goal, so that it's the target. You can't shoot, like I said, you can't shoot at a target that you don't know. So that becomes the target. And then what are the action points that will get you to this target? Now, the second thing I think that is very important is you must be willing to take action. You must be willing to take action, because most of us are not, we desire it. We desire to have the six-pack. We desire to have that size 12, size 10 body. Mm-hmm. We go and pay for the gym in January 1st.
Yes.
And buy the cute
yes.
outfit.
Buy the cute outfit. And we don't take the step that it needs to. We don't take the steps that we need to take
Right.
to get to that size
Right.
or that body shape that we need to. In fact, for most of us, at times psychologically, we think we've taken the steps by when we pass by, or we have my friend. I'm with Valentine, and I tell her what, that's my gym. And that's my gym,
That's my
and it's
gym.
true because I have paid membership.
Yes. Mhm.
But it's not that. Just pointing it out and saying saying that is my gym does not take you to the level that you want to be.
Right.
It is the action
Yes.
that will deliver the change that you're looking for. So you must be willing to take the action.
And I don't think this needs to be understated. I just want to say this because people are wondering why they're not getting to where they want to get. They're wondering why reinvention isn't happening. And I don't think that action can be understated. It can be overstated for people really to shift. We're talking about transformation. Valentine, what is it that you'd like to say?
We have an idea that God speaks to certain people, or that certain people hear God, and that we don't, or we get secondhand information from those special people that God speaks to. But that's actually not true. And Jeremiah, if you're sitting at home and you're wondering, I don't have a vision, I just know I'm upset and I want to move and I don't know where I want to go, that's perfectly fine. God has told us in James, ask for wisdom. And he'll give it to you.
Yeah.
Jeremiah 33:3 is one of my favorite scriptures. God says, call to me and I will answer you and I will tell you great and mighty things you do not know. That for me is a guiding scripture. When I'm stuck, I'm like, God, I'm calling. I want to know something mighty.
Yeah.
Tell me.
Yeah.
And when I feel stuck or if I don't know where I'm going, I'm like, God, show me a vision.
Okay.
I will have a dream. I will have a vision. Somebody will call me and say, I was in prayer and I saw this for you. Ask God. He is faithful. I have never prayed that prayer and gotten zero response. Ever. Because God places his word above his own name. So if you're stuck, if you're feeling like you don't have wisdom, it's because you haven't asked for it. So back to the action.
Yeah.
Take the action.
So at times what I'm hearing you say is that action at times is to get to find, okay, what's this vision?
Yes.
Yeah, even if you don't have it. I am dissatisfied at where I am
Right.
and help me, God,
Yeah.
get to
Yeah.
the vision that
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So at times it's asking for the vision if you don't have it.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty powerful to actually ask for the vision because many people stop short there.
Yeah.
God isn't speaking to me. I don't know what's next. End of story.
And then you go from one seminar to a summit to a women's meeting to blah blah
To the
and-
Deborah Mantle?
I know. Like all these things, and you're not actually asking the right thing. And you can in the quiet of your own room or your own car, wherever you are, in a matatu, and just ask God, I'm calling to you and I'm praying this scripture to you, Jesus. You need to answer me, and He will.
Yeah.
And he will.
Could we say that you should also be willing to listen, to hear him?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that you're not looking for your voice, something that is aligned to your thoughts, the human me.
Well, yes, you should know how God speaks to you.
Yeah. So that
That's
you-
back to
yeah.
what Vayanzi was saying. You should have that
You should hear it.
relationship
Yeah.
and know how
Yeah.
God speaks to you. Yes.
Because think about just all the different examples of the way God speaks to, he's just people in general. I mean, I've heard people say whether it's a thunderous voice or a quiet voice,
Right.
or whether it's almost like in the wind or it's nature. Like, how does God speak to you? Again, we're talking about reinvention and our ways or our strategies for getting us to reinventing ourselves. Now,
Right.
I have to bring this part up because as much as we feel good, we know that there are challenges
Right.
that come that don't feel good. Valentine, you have shared with us this incredible, a challenge that came up. And let's just take a lens and zoom in on a few areas during your reinventions.
Okay.
What are some challenges that you personally have had?
Okay, like with starting a business, with starting Yummy, which is what I'm calling the beauty products, it was first, well, the main challenge was finances. Like, I need money to even start doing research and figuring out which products I want, and driving around the country and finding raw materials and getting a team, like somebody to work with who actually understands chemistry. So there was that. But then on a more personal level, it was my circle. And changing, once I realized, like coming out of the car accident and healing, that God was up to something big with me, then I was like, okay, the people around me, we don't pray together. We meet, we have wine together. These are not the people that are going to get me to the mountaintop. This is not the team. This is not the crew. So it was also asking God for friends and for people. And sometimes we have an idea of what a friend is. I can't say now I have the friends that I talk to daily, because sometimes you have a crew, like you hang out and whatever, and let's do lunch, let's have wine, let's do whatever. But then I have friends now who I might only speak to like 3-4 times a year. But when we do speak, it's like, what's going on with you? How am I praying for you? God is saying this to me for you. And has God told you anything? Like that. It's a very intentional, very kingdom-driven agenda. It's not always a friendship or the people you kiki with and laugh with and all that and gossip with, because you can waste a lot of time in those relationships. So I'm not saying God doesn't want you to have friends that you can laugh with. That's not what I'm saying.
I understand what you're saying, yeah.
But you need friends. Was it Paul who was falling apart after preaching, and his friends prayed him back? It's in the Bible, right? I'm forgetting exactly where.
To restore his strength,
Exactly. So you need that kind of peer group. You need people who pray life into you, speak life over you, pray for your business as if it is their own. People who say, I'm fasting on Friday for you, right? You need, and then also sometimes people have a vision of you and they're stuck in that vision and they don't want you to shift, and they start talking smack. Oh, you're not fun anymore. You don't drink. Yeah. And if I was only fun when I drank, that's a problem, right?
Yeah, then that's a bigger implication. That's a different type of counseling
if you're trying to lose weight, then your dessert friends are not the crew, right? You can't just be exchanging cake recipes and whatever. So, you know what I mean?
In all of this, wait, just one quick second, because I want people to catch what you're saying.
Right.
Because as much as you're actually still dropping some strategies, by the way, however, you're talking about one of the challenges can be a lack of support. In multiple ways. And I think the last thing, and Coach Jackie, in a moment, I'll ask you to chime in. The last thing you just said, Valentine, is like hitting in a different way. You said people see you a certain way.
Right.
So when we're talking about reinvention, people have a problem.
Yes.
When you're transforming.
Also, you who's in the transformation, you don't have a clear vision. Like you have somewhat of a blurry, I'm going over there. You don't know what you look like in that tiny waistline. Maybe you've never been there, right? Maybe you've never been a business owner. Maybe you've never been a church minister or whatever it is. Because God lights our footsteps, right? He doesn't give you a full, this is where we're going, blah, blah.
Right.
The path is not laid out like super lit. So you have a blurry idea of where you're going. You don't need naysayers next to you like, do you even know how to dress like that? You don't need naysayers. Have you ever run a business? Where's your business plan? You don't need that. You don't need that at all. So you really, and again, back to prayer. Ask God for your partners. Ask God for your peer group and your intercessors.
Coach Jackie, let me come over to you. Challenges with these people that you've worked with, both professionally and personally. What are some of those challenges that you're seeing when people decide they are going to reinvent themselves?
I think I agree with what Valentine is saying. You need a support group. You need to make sure that your support circle guides you to the vision that you've set, that it's fit for the vision that you've set. Otherwise, you're not going to get there. Remember, we are always told that we are an average of the 5 people that we are around with.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was from, let me just say, because I know you said remember, and people may be saying, she didn't say that. It was in our webinar that we did together. Yes, so go ahead and repeat that so people really understand.
So you are an average of the 5 people that you surround yourself with. If you surround yourself with 5 millionaires, you're going to be the 6th one. If you surround yourself with 5 smokers, you're going to be the 6th smoker with time. Yeah. So you need to look at your circle. Now, the fact that you are changing and you're reinventing yourself, it means that your circle might be unfit for you because you are changing. Your circle worked because you were in the same journey, the same season. But now as you reinvent, you are going to stand out from your circle. So one of the challenge is, are you willing to leave the circle?
Wow.
Are you willing to let that circle go and look for a circle that will take you to the place that you want to be? And people in your circle are going to feel uncomfortable because you've changed, because it is human.
Yes.
We were all this way. What's happening?
rejected.
Yeah, they feel rejected. And it is actually, they actually feel rejected, and it is human. It's actually like human. It's not because they're bad people. Yeah, because we are just losing you, you know? And at times, it's because you are a picture of what we are not doing. So we are uncomfortable. Yeah. You are growing and we are not growing. So at times we are uncomfortable. At times, we just want you to be the same as us. You know, they say, there's a saying in Japanese that says, a nail that stands out gets knocks, you know, it gets knocked so that it can be flat.
Yes.
So we are just trying to flatten you so that you're like all the nails. Yeah. And if we flatten you, you are aware that you're not going to reinvent yourself.
Yes.
So are you willing to also pop out and be different in this circle for you to get to that vision that you want to get to? Do you have a mindset that can withhold those challenges, that your friends, you might lose your friends, that you might not have support, that you might need to get into another uncomfortable zone because now you need other circles that you've not been with, you need actions that you've not done before. So there's going to be uncomfortability. That is going to be a challenge. Some of us stop reinventing ourselves because it is uncomfortable.
Yeah.
We think we are afraid of discomfort. Okay? And then there's the challenge of consistency and discipline.
Say that again.
Consistency and discipline.
Wow.
And for me, I always summarize it with what you need to do and what you want to do. Those two things are not the same. Because most of us want to sit, relax, we want comfortability. But for you to reinvent yourself, there are things that you need to do. You needed KEBS. Yeah. Even though you didn't want it.
No, the process took long, and
You know?
it's still taking long. Like, we're not done, you know. And I really like what you're saying. It's true. It's also are we all mums?
Yeah.
You've had a baby. What does it take when you give birth? You withdraw from the world, right? You focus on your baby. You make mistakes. You're gentle with yourself. You learn or never wake up a sleeping baby or you won't pay for it. You know, all that stuff. So it's the same, I think, with this new vision of yourself that you have. It's a baby. So you need to protect. You don't take your baby to meet and shake hands with everybody. You cover and protect your baby. So you don't talk about your new vision with everybody.
Yeah.
You also withdraw, so you can allow yourself to even get comfortable with the baby and this vision of yourself before you can even talk about it and share with others. This is where I'm going. This is where what I see myself becoming. So you nurture and nurse and care for. And I'm doing this because you cover it.
Yes, yeah, absolutely.
You cover it. And we see people do, this one doesn't tell us anything. I'm like, and you know, actually, when you listen to people who birthed things, there was a period of silence. And yeah, exactly like what you're doing. We all instinctively have this
and just
feeling,
so for
right?
the listening audience, all of us keep kind of bringing our hands together like
Right?
we're hugging
Like
something that's not
protect-
there.
Exactly, because it's really not there. It's there in your head.
Yes.
It's there in your prayer life, but
Yes.
it's not there physically for people to see. So you cover and you nurture, you protect. You're like, yeah, we're doing something.
Yeah.
And you might look
And
weird.
you know you do that because you are susceptible to being... you are susceptible to us changing your mind
Right.
at that time because
Yeah.
it's not so strong. It's not, the vision is not so strong in your mind.
And even
So-
laughing at you. We've seen first time people at the gym.
So
you don't know how
if we
to
laugh
lift
at
weights,
you,
right?
if we laugh at you, you are bound to let it go. So during that time, before you train that muscle to be able to
Exactly,
speak
yeah,
about
yeah.
it without caring whether we buy it or not. You need to nurture it and protect
Right.
it.
Yeah.
Protect it.
You know,
Yeah.
I hold in so much as the host of this show, but I'm just going to put this little story in here. We're talking about nursing our visions. And what's the first story that comes up for me is the story of Joseph, who didn't nurture his vision, who went blabbing to his brothers. about, by the way, I'm going to rule over you. That didn't go over so well. And we know the story. And those of you, if you don't know the story, please look it up. I'll end it there.
Yeah.
But I think what you're saying is the good illustration of the opposite of taking and caring. It's something that God has given to you.
Right.
So why would we? Why would we just
Yeah.
tell anyone? It's important. So that's what I'm hearing both of you
Yeah.
say.
Also, when you're reinventing yourself,
This is Valentine.
you will fail, right? And you have to be able to give yourself some grace to look foolish, right? If you're going to become a pastor, your first sermon is not going to be one for the books.
You know what? You know what I like about what you're saying is that one of the things that it takes to reinvent yourself is for you to allow yourself to be foolish.
Yes.
Yeah. If you cannot allow
Yes.
yourself to be foolish, if you cannot allow yourself to be a beginner, then you're not going to be a master.
Yeah.
Every master was once an amateur.
In kindergarten.
Yeah. So most of us at times, we are not reinventing ourselves because we don't want to look foolish and we don't want to look like amateurs. We want to start our YouTube channel. The first video should get 100,000 views, 100,000 likes, and it's not possible.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
It's not.
I think also what I'm hearing as both of you are speaking is that we have forgotten as human beings, just all of us, that we have lived a life of reinventions.
Yeah.
We reinvented ourselves from crawlers to walkers. We didn't come out the womb walking.
No.
We reinvented ourselves when we learned how to eat food. People aren't thinking about that. So since we were babies, we've been created that there were different reinventions as we went through different
Right,
stages
it's
in
part of
life.
life.
But we've forgotten because we get older and we get sophisticated. And I'm talking way too much. So now let's start to think about some success stories. Now you're going to bring us into the present of
Okay.
Valentine in just a moment, and just some Coach Jackie, I'll ask you to think about some success stories that you have seen on the other side. Okay. So Valentine, you've shared so many different parts of your story and some of the successes. I mean, of course, we've talked about the challenges. We talked about the questioning. We've talked about all of those things. But tell us some of the success stories that you've had in your reinventions, and you can bring us right up to the present.
My personal successes?
Yes.
Oh, wow. This is the difficult part.
Well, you're living
It's
it.
difficult to highlight my own successes. I feel like with the beauty products we're about to launch, we're launching now. Actually, the website should be up. Am I allowed to say the website?
We'll ask you at the end to share.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, absolutely.
So I'm waiting to start selling, and then that will be a success. But I've been researching beauty products since 2022. But then this year, we actually started making them and testing and all that. And in 7 months, to have 11 products ready for market, I'm seeing it as supernatural, like just Holy Spirit, grace, and speed, because 11 products is quite stunning. So that's a success.
Yes.
And I'd actually not realized it until a friend was in my kitchen and she's like, you know, I saw you in January and you were picking mangoes, you're going to Makweni, and because I wanted to make mango butter. And then she's like, and now I'm actually here and you're showing me products. She's like, this is amazing. And I was like, wow, look at God.
Wow. Wait,
Yeah.
just right there. And I know you're going to continue, but you're just bringing up something really important that I don't want to get past this. Coach Jackie, I'm noticing how Valentine is talking through this story, but she said she didn't even realize that she had already done a part of that reinvention. The reinvention, it's not later on when that's going to be a different reinvention, right? But can you just speak to when people experience that they're in the midst of the reinvention and they're not even recognizing it?
It's true that most of the time we are doing, if at all you're taking your actions, most of the time it's the little actions that are combined and make a big success. But when we are in the little actions, we actually don't realize that we are making the actions, we are making steps towards our reinvention. One of the other quotes that I like that I heard from Steve Jobs, and it is, life is lived forward but understood backward. So that is why when you look backward, then you can see, oh my God, those small dots, this is what the purpose of these small
Right.
dots that were, this is the purpose that it came to serve in my life. But when you are living then, it doesn't make sense.
I want people to hear that the reinvention, yes, we're saying this show is called Reinventing Yourself.
Right.
But it's not just about you.
Yeah, it's never. Yes, exactly. Your life as a Christian is not about you. You're going to have joy and you're going to be fulfilled and you're going to have all those amazing things that God wants for each of us, an abundant life. But your life should impact many. It's how God works. And that's why you also need to listen to God and figure out what is this reinvention? What is the vision? Because you can also call God to task. Like, hey, I'm out here. I feel like I'm by myself. Are you around? Like,
Yes. Look at the Psalms. That's what David was doing half the time. Where are you, God? Yes.
right. You know,
Wow.
yes. Yeah.
Coach Jackie, I mean, that was, I just want to, Valentine, before I go back over to Coach Jackie, I just want to say such a powerful personal testimony of just God being with you throughout your reinventions. And even now, as it's like real time reinvention
Right.
as we speak.
Right.
And that's amazing that you're willing to share that. And before we go to Coach Jackie, because I know the time is winding up, tell us one place that people will be able to find you.
Oh, okay. So on Instagram, valentine.njoroge and yummybeauty.africa. That's the website. And also on Instagram, we're yummy.beauty.africa.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. And we have that there. Coach Jackie, I would love for you to follow this up with some of the success stories that you've experienced in your coaching people towards their fresh start or their reinvention.
For me, I have worked with so many people in my practice. And I think I might not be able to sit here and talk about one person's story.
Yeah.
But the fact that you get to hear me
Yes.
and get to invite me to come here, it's because there's been a lot of people who have recommended me because of the work that I have done. Now, the work that I do is personal, supporting people to fresh starts. And that is because I have also had to reinvent myself in my life.
Wow.
And that
So
is
here it
why
is.
I
Coach is sharing her
love-
story.
At
Yes.
the end, right?
Yes. Inquiring minds want to know. Please,
And
Coach
that is
Jackie.
why I love doing what I do.
In a nutshell, what were you doing before?
I was an admin assistant. Yeah, that was my career. And then I got laid off because the donor funds were not there.
Wow.
And then maybe during that time, fortunately, I got married. But again, that was another fresh beginning because that is also my other passion.
Yes.
Because I am known for two things, fresh start coaching and blended family coaching. Because now when I get into marriage, I become a stepmom of two. And I was not a mom. So I had to navigate those challenges, go back to school because I wanted to change my career. Because during that time now, I realized I'm not going to look for work because I'm not going to the job that I was doing that I didn't like. Yeah. So every ending at times is a new beginning.
Yes.
At times we get lost with a closed door without realizing that actually there's another door that has just opened. So for me, the door that opened after that was to pursue the thing that I liked. That is how I went to become a psychologist, a life coach, and a counselor.
So we're hearing that basically you do what you do because you have done the
Yes.
thing and you continue to. So Coach Jackie, where can people find you?
Instagram as Coach Jackie Care, Facebook, Jackie Care, and YouTube, Fresh Start Hub.
Wow. So Valentine Njoroge and Coach Jackie Kea, we appreciate your being here and unpacking this topic of reinventing yourself. Those of you who have been tuned into us today. I look forward to seeing your comments about this and even some of your thoughts and insights that you've gotten as they pertain to your next chapter, your fresh start, your reinvention. With a renewed mind, you renew yourself and the world around you. So keep shining. This has been Rise and Shine, and I am Vuyanzi. Catch you next time.